What's up, everybody? What's up, and welcome back to On the Warpath. It's your boy Sanchez 405. If you're new, make sure you click that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime there's anytime there's new content posted. Always like, comment, share this video out, and also subscribe to the Take Command podcast because we got our guy here. We got Will. We're gonna talk. Yes, the question of the hour. We're going to talk about Myles Garrett. We're going to review briefly the NFC Championship game because we didn't have an opportunity to do it with them. We'll talk about Myles Garrett a lot. Like I said, Cooper Kupp has been in the news as well. The name, something makes you go, We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll play a little free agency. Should he stay or should he go? And then we'll give you our picks and our thoughts on probably one of the worst covered Super Bowls of the last 2 decades, to my recall. So, Will, how you doing, brother?
Hey, it's really good to be here. I'll tell you, it was a bummer to miss it last week, but watching that game made me so sick that I couldn't get out of bed for 4 days. So after a long and lengthy recovery, it's good to be back talking about some Commanders football. And while there isn't football to be played, there are a lot of really exciting storylines. There are a lot of big topics and a lot of hope as this organization continues to grow and develop. So I'm excited to get into it. And I mean, I guess, before we get to the light at the end of the tunnel, let's go back and look at the darkness. I mean, just a tough game. I mean, just a tough game. And I don't have too much to say because I really think that is the headline. This team was riding something magical throughout the playoffs, throughout this season. We had identified it. We had talked about it before the Lions game. We had talked about it before this game. And it really was, after hours on Sunday of waking up and being so nervous and being so fearful of how the game was going to go, of what was going to happen, of facing the Eagles yet again, when you finally get to the whistle and the first thing that we see is us muffing the opening kickoff in the end zone, I turned and looked at my buddy and I just said, you know what? This isn't our day. And from that point on was just completely at peace with the situation, because with the magic and momentum we were riding coming into this game, it was one of those ones where just everything had to go right. Like everything was going to have to keep going right, because that's what happened in the Lions game. Everything went right. The offense clicked, the defense clicked. And when you come out and I see the opening kickoff hit the dirt, I went, you know what? I don't think that this is it. I just didn't think it was our day. And look, I mean, we knew Saquon was going to take the top off once. What did it need to happen that early in the game after we put together, what was it, like a 17, 18 play drive? No, certainly wish it wasn't. Yeah. That didn't make me feel any better. The way that uncharacteristically for this team, we could not hold on to the football to save our lives, just turnover after turnover after turnover, which we had known all season was going to be the bane of this team's existence, is not having the football in Jaden Daniels' hands. He wasn't able to get it going or really create any sort of rhythm because of how we just continued to give the ball back to the Eagles. I mean, it was just a frustrating game. It really was. And while I say that it was frustrating, there was a certain sense of emotional calm about the situation because of partly how early I came to accept the result, but also the run that we had when we were going into the playoffs. If we look back to the skid that the offense was on, there was a point where we were saying, are we going to get to 12 wins? Is 12 wins still there? Or are we going to get to 11 and we're going to call it a great season? We scrape it all together. We pull off that Dallas game. We get to 12 wins. Everybody's like, hallelujah. I can't believe we did it. A 12-win season with a rookie quarterback. This is phenomenal. And at that point, we had our spot in the playoffs. We were going into that Tampa Bay game. I remember our conversation. We were optimistic. We were, dare I say, confident. But we also knew that there was a situation where Tampa Bay could have come out and bit us in the ass a little bit. Right. And it would have been whatever. And at that point, yeah. I would have been both disappointed and sad. We beat Tampa Bay. We move on. We're facing the Lions. Just powerhouse team. There was no situation then where I was going to be disappointed. I was just going to be a little sad. I was going to be a little sad that the run was over. But coming into this game, I knew I had already used all the cards that I had to play. As I like to say, I'd use my karma, my sports wishes, my sports karma. It was gone. The tank was empty. Whatever was going to happen out on that field was not going to have anything to do with what I was doing, despite whatever jersey I put on, whatever way I put on my socks left to right. I was done. My role had been played, and it gave me this sense of emotional peace and calm where at the game, to your point, even for, as I said, how uncharacteristic this loss was for this team. Not a team that has been blown out. And did it hurt a little bit to go out the way that they did? Yes. But no part of me was really sad or disappointed at that point. I more so was able to just relish in what we were able to accomplish, which at the end of the day was an NFC championship appearance, one game away from the Super Bowl, rookie quarterback, and a albeit pieced together roster.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good assessment right there. The biggest thing I said was we were a bunch of frat boys partying all season long, got drunk, loud, and the cops just came and busted down the door and said the party's over. It's like in Mrs. Doubtfire at the beginning of the scene, and they're having the kids, the donkey, the horse is eating the cake, and Miranda just comes out there and he's like, "Party's over." So yeah, somebody ate the
sun comes up eventually.
Yeah, and that's what happened here. And you can't turn the ball over 4 times. And just as they said against Detroit, Dan Quinn said, he's like, "Ball is life." Yeah, and I mean, and let's give credit to Philadelphia. I'll do credit to them that they took the ball away. They took the ball away.
They did. I mean, that was like a classic peanut punch.
Yeah,
like they stripped us. It was not, in multiple of those instances, it was not like one of those, is it an incomplete pass where you get caught? Like, no, those were grown man strip, put that ball on the turf and go for it. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah. So that was my thoughts in, we go into this offseason, the goal needs to be not only winning the NFC East, and then that goal is you have to design your team to beat the best team in your division and in your conference, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's predicated on building the run game and stopping the run, because that's where we were weak on both sides of the ball, was the running of the football and the stopping of the running of the football, and a guy that we've seen so many times in Saquon Barkley. So, and with that being said, we move into our next topic. It's been a topic all over the landscape, Radio Row. I don't think he went and talked. Myles Garrett didn't even talk to Philadelphia media, so that's what we've that's a plus, right? But Myles Garrett, and that's the question on the title of the video, is should the Commanders pursue Browns defensive end Myles Garrett? And I'll start out with this and saying, yes, the obvious answer is yes, right?
Groundbreaking journalism there.
Yeah. Let's not bury the lead. Let's not bury the lead. Groundbreaking, like there's going to be a name change, right?
Oh Lord.
Oh God, I'm petty. But anyway, I think you got to do your due diligence, right? You don't want to jump in too soon, but you don't want to jump in too late. What is this going to look like? The questions that I have, obviously it's a yes, but we have already been talking about how many holes are on this defense. So how many holes does Myles Garrett does he plug up, Pauls, on this team? And yes, he suffices a huge need on the roster, but and I'm just playing devil advocate. You still got to find running backs, wide receivers. You still got to solidify that offensive line. So that's where I kind of toss it to you, is because I know you're probably down with Myles Garrett too coming here, but what are you going to give up? What do you speculate the going rate is?
Well, I mean, I think you got two separate prongs of attack there, and I think one one kind of addressing the is he enough factor. Let's start there. I think it's fortuitous in the world of social media trends. I don't know if you've seen that TikTok trend that's going around that's like, if you could pick one historic player from your franchise to bring in from any point in history, like, would that one player be enough to elevate your team to a championship team? Like, the Commanders now are fortunate to be in a spot where we have a Jaden Daniels at quarterback. You're looking for a weapon akin to what Myles Garrett is to take this team to a championship level. And when I think about that trend and, some of the historic names that you could bring up, and I look at what we could be seeing 30 years in the future, I could see us being in that position and saying that the acquisition of Myles Garrett is what elevated this team. He was that one guy that filled a role and brought the Commanders to a championship caliber team, because although they achieved championship status, I think it's safe to say, and it's fair to say, that this was not necessarily what anyone would call a championship caliber roster on paper. So am I interested? Yeah, I'm interested. I think that at 29 years old, Myles Garrett is, anybody will tell you, if you've got eyes, you're interested. He's one of the most prolific players in the National Football League. The way that he attacks the quarterback is it's breathtaking to watch. 14 sacks on the season, second in the NFL, 3 forced fumbles. The guy has a commanding presence that this defense lacked. And when you look at the Eagles and you look at the Chiefs and you look at some of the other great teams of late, they have been so good at getting to the quarterback and combating what is a generation of versatile two-way quarterbacks, can do it with their arm, can do it with their legs. We didn't have that this year. Why do you think even in that Eagles game where Jalen was banged up, took off the knee brace, was still able to run the football when we knew he was going to do it? Like, Saquon Barkley does not have the explosive type of performance that he has with somebody like Myles Garrett on the Commanders roster, because he is that inside threat that will make you think twice about stepping up to the line of scrimmage. Now, all that being said, what am I willing to give for him?
There we go.
I think it's not necessarily a question of what I'm willing to give for him. It's what I'm going to have to give for him if I want him. And at this point, I've come to terms with the fact that of the pool of players that are going to be available for a team that is not necessarily on a short window in a championship, but has the ability to capitalize now, he is going to be the cream of the crop. And yeah, we'll definitely be looking to the draft to develop some guys, but think about that risk reward and think about what a gamble the draft always is, even with some of the top prospects, even with the picks that the Commanders still hold. You don't know if a guy is going to pan out. And even if he does, it might take 2-3 seasons, where the Commanders have built their roster in such a way where winning now is a possibility. The word right now is they're looking for like two players, like 2 first rounds. And that the price tag is going to be steep, but it's a price tag that you're going to have to pay, because yes, while in his interviews, he keeps saying, I want to go to a contender. And of course, you got like Kay Adams kind of giving him the, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So how about those Washington Commanders? Like, boy, you'd sure look good in burgundy and gold. I do genuinely believe that he is attracted to this organization and does want to come here. However, he is not going to do it, and they are not going to strike a deal without getting a hefty sum in return. And at the end of the day, they know that they could shop him to any other team in the league that has that kind of capital. So what am I willing to give up? I am willing to give up pretty much whatever it takes in order to get a player like Myles Garrett, because back to the original point, I think that he is a player that does have the potential to turn a good team into a championship roster.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I'm not going to speculate on compensation, because I always feel like that it's always it's always going to be way off, right? Whether it's low or because we looked at I mean, you look in the NBA right now. Luka Doncic going to LA, right?
Well, and
They
he just
stole.
lost what $95 million because he can't
Yeah,
sign his supermax.
yeah. So I mean, but they stole. I mean, the Lakers just stole them.
Yeah,
Let's be honest with you. So that's kind of where I'm at with compensation. But you mentioned players, and we've been rumored to have that people have been throwing out Deron Payne, John Allen, along with the draft picks. So I would think with those two former first round talents, who John Allen played good at the end of the season, although he was hurt. And then you got Deron Payne, who has left a lot on the table as far as in his second contract with the Burgundy Gold. So maybe you can off one of those guys. It'd be nice maybe to get that contract from Payne off the
yeah,
books and then move it to Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, you never know. But this is a conversation about building a roster that has elite talent. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles. Both of these teams have 5 to 7, maybe 6 elite players. Washington right now, in the grand scheme of things, has 1 elite player. That's Jaden Daniels. You need to bring in another elite talent.
yeah,
And this is getting on that register. Is Myles Garrett is an elite talent, like you said, a guy that can take a team from good to great. He can take a defense that was putrid to excellent. And
yeah.
I mean, we can do that. And then, never know. Maybe you get Denzel Ward in a package deal and you bring him on over and you can off him. Because I saw that he's interested in moving if Myles Garrett is there. But to talk about the player of Myles Garrett I think he's characterized in one ill-fated light with the Mason Rudolph situation and everything like that. And Mason Rudolph said what he allegedly said to him. It would probably took more than just a helmet in those situations. But what I'm saying is the guy has this calm demeanor off the field, but he's a reckless animal on the field, and that's what you mean. He kind of reminds me, in the grand scheme, like the way he talks and how like laid back he is. He kind of reminds me of a Charles Mann
Yeah,
for the old school folks. And I'm like, yeah, if I can get somebody that's like Charles Mann, yeah, let's bring him on. If he reminds you of that, if you can find somebody that has that mental capacity and probably the tenacity of or half the tenacity of a Lawrence Taylor, then yeah, sign me up for that. And then you can get rid of one of maybe these bad contracts, or you get rid of John Allen, who doesn't have guaranteed money, and then Cleveland has to deal with a contract. I mean, I'm all for it. And you can't, if he can get 11 sacks for this team in 2025. I'd say Washington be on the right way again
yeah.
to doing what they did this past season.
Well, and I'll say with the Payne and Allen situation as well. I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago, but when we were looking at that one graph that was getting sent around Twitter, where it was the dollar value versus quarterback pressures of linebackers in the league, and you're looking at a whole bunch of teams, and then way out on the right and way down towards that x-axis is the Washington Commanders, because look, for as good of a job as they did in filling a role for Washington that needed to be filled, I don't see a situation where we are going to, in good conscience, get the most value and keep Payne and Allen when there is an opportunity to get someone like Myles Garrett. And I want to go back to what you were saying about kind of his quiet demeanor off the field, but when he has that like rabid animal mentality on the field where he is going to get to the quarterback at all costs. I think that from what you see from him, he has this quiet magnetism to him. And because of his skill, but also because of, as you mentioned, that calm demeanor and persona off the field, that people are drawn to him as a leader. And I equate that situation to, although this would be, he's going on his 9th year in the league right now, I equate that to what Jaden Daniels was able to do for the Commanders offense. Could Myles Garrett do the same thing for the Commanders defense that is so void of a superstar and of a leader. If he just comes in, is there a reverberating effect amongst that group in the locker room and on the field where, look, with the exception of Terry McLaurin being Terry McLaurin, it was Jaden Daniels that not just looked good, but elevated the talent and the ability of every guy around him. Up to, this point in the Myles Garrett conversation, Marshawn Lattimore was the guy that we were like, is Marshawn Lattimore going to be that leadership presence that reverberates? And as we saw in how he played,
he's reverberating.
His hamstring was the only thing reverberating as he got torched up and down the field. But my question is, in the way that I think that Myles Garrett would elevate this team on a talent standpoint, could he also have that intangible effect on the locker room, specifically on the defense that Jaden Daniels had on the offensive side of the ball? And is that part of what makes him so valuable to Washington, that he comes in with that experience in the league, but also the enormous amount of talent?
Yeah. That's a good point. I think so in that respect. Like earth shattering. That's an earth shattering type talent right there. So yeah.
I compare that need. I compare that need, and that's part of why I think that, when we're going to get into the Cooper Kupp and kind of our other, needs on the team, as you said, this is not a complete roster. There are holes in it. But that leadership aspect on the defensive side of the football, there is just no one there. Like, I would still argue that some of our best defensive performances this year came from the rookie Mikey Samberstill, came from Jeremy Chin. We got some good games out of Allen and Payne, albeit, but those were not season performances. There's a real need, not only from a play on the field standpoint, where we need somebody to help out a guy like Jazon Newton to alleviate some pressure and actually attack the quarterback. We need somebody to be a locker room guy on that side of the football. Yeah. And so when we're comparing this to the Cooper Kupp situation, if I'm choosing between the two of them, I'm giving up a hell of a lot more to get a guy like Myles Garrett than I'm going to get Cooper Kupp, despite them obviously maybe not being at quite the same talent level, but in that same pool, I would argue.
Yeah, I think that, that's good. That's an excellent point there. I think that's the key. And, you look at defense, I think we've had the leadership. We haven't had the talent there. In a combo of one person. Bobby Wagner had brought
that's a great shout.
Yeah. But Bobby Wagner, if this was 5 to 6 years ago, Bobby Wagner, it'd be elite talent in there. It's not elite talent right there in the twilight of his career. So but Samberstill, he's gonna learn. But in Jeremy Chin, who was looking for a home, he's a hired assassin, and he's played some good ball. You could argue Frankie Louvu too. That's a good combination of leadership and just straight up ball.
And who had several just really, really stellar games. Stellar games.
Yeah, and maybe he might get a rule change too for us because of all that.
Oh my God, what a crazy story that was! Did you, if not to go off track?
No. Go ahead. I brought it up. Go ahead.
If Frankie Louvu is the reason that we get the tush push banned from football, I mean, everybody owes the Commanders at that point.
Yes,
everybody, league wide. If depending on what happens on Sunday, the Chiefs might very well owe the Commanders for not having that tush push be in football anymore. Because, unbelievable. One of the most humorous things I've ever seen, and I loved every time they cut to him, he's just laughing his ass off. He's like, this is literally the dumbest play I've ever seen in my life. It is indefensible. You're going to be able to move the ball. With their offensive line, they can freight train the ball. We've seen them pick up 3 yards from that play before against some teams. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? And honestly, it would have just been the icing on the cake if the ref was like, you know what, give him 7.
Yeah, and this is from Mark Maskey talking to Mike Pereira, the former officiating czar. The tweet says he thinks the Commanders' repeated offside infraction on the goal line sequence during the NFC title game could lead to a renewed consideration by the NFL and competition committee of banning the Eagles push the QB sneak. So that's what he called it there. And this was the quote from Prayer. I think it will be a conversation. I think what happened in the championship game was ugly. I think the ugliness of that they'll take a further look at it. I think it'll continue to be looked at, and that at that time, somewhere down the road, making a change. There you go.
I mean, they can keep looking, but I'll tell you, I've seen enough.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm familiar with the play.
I'm sick and tired of seeing that play. I mean, I would have said that if it was any other team that was doing it. If it wasn't us, I'd probably be a little hypocritical. But that's.
Oh yeah, I was about to say I wouldn't go that far. I mean, certain teams, I'd probably be pretty okay with it.
I'm just, but it's. Like you said, it's indefensible. I mean, we stopped it twice last year. Against and maybe it was a funky exchange or something like that, but it doesn't matter. So Frankie Louvu doing a good Lord's work. Also, Myles Garrett didn't talk to the Eagles media, didn't talk to WIP in Philadelphia, walked exit stage left when he said, because they called him a future Eagle, he said no. Yes, and Adam Peters, I have to implore to you real quick. Adam, please listen to me. Listen to me, Adam. Adam, whatever you do, brother, I love you. Make sure this bastard does not go to Philadelphia. We can't have that. We cannot have Myles Garrett in the NFC East. Make sure he don't go to Dallas. Make sure he don't go to New York. He probably, his career will be over in New York. But anyway, don't let him go to them places. I'm telling you this as a friend and a fan. Don't do this. Well, I know he don't know me as close like that, but we can get to know each other, Adam, as that's the case. But yeah, another name in the circle of Commanders rumors. Also, I want to address this. Dark Brown brought this up. Yes, and Tyreek Hill. No, hell no, absolutely not. No. Because this is what you're going to have to do.
I don't want the baggage, that's for sure.
Yeah, I did, and that's what I was saying.
Baby mamas in Miami. I don't need.
They're going to have to come up to Washington. They're going to come up.
I don't have 12 tickets to give away.
Yeah, look, they're going to have to come to Washington, right? And then also, this is what they're going to do. They're going to have to expand the family room to about three more blocks at Northwest Stadium.
Well, we're going to be spending money on extra daycare help instead of investing back in this roster if he keeps bringing these babies around.
Yeah, I'm just saying, maybe he just needs to, snip. I don't know. That's none of my business. But no Tyreek Hill. I'm good.
Well, I think it's time. Like he had his moment, and I think it's gone. I think the baggage is too. You want to talk about the intangible cost, Corey? That's one where the intangible cost is never something that I would be willing to pay.
Exactly.
And I don't think knowing, to your point, our good friend Adam Peters, our good close personal friend.
Well, he's probably
Adam,
closer of a friend of yours than he is mine. But
our good close personal friend Adam Peters, knowing how he likes to operate, I don't think that Tyreek Hill really matches what Adam Peters is trying to build in the Commanders locker room. And I do want to say, as we talk about, we get into all of this free agency stuff, all of these conversations, I think it needs to be stated that I believe that with this ownership group, they are going to put not necessarily talent, but team first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they understand how special what they've built in this locker room is. And they're not going to risk it for a big flashy name or a big flashy talent. Are they willing to take risks? Are they going to go out and do it? Yes. But in terms of who we're going to give away, you mentioned, like a John Allen guy. Are we willing to give him away on a talent standpoint? Yeah, I would probably let him ride for the money that he's getting and how, inefficient at times he was. Yes. But what we don't see is what's going on in the locker room and potentially how valuable he is to the culture and the chemistry. So just as we're getting into these conversations, I think that it is important to note that we're not in Jerry's world where he's just going to go buy himself a new toy. Like they are going to carefully curate the environment of this locker room and not only try to get the best players that they can, but the best fit players that they can.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see here. Got some Rock, man. What's up? How you doing, brother? Yam says to answer the question, Corey. Yes. And
Yeah.
hello. How you doing,
We're
sir?
on the same page.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's bring over Garrett and Ward since they both went out of Cleveland. Yeah, I like that. What's up,
I mean, who
Dubs?
would want to stay in Cleveland?
Yeah. It's not like crap hole Philly bad, but it's still bad though. Boski says, what side of the ball do you think is AP's priority? Both. I think both.
But I still stand on what I
defense.
said. I think that's a great question, and I think it is the defense. I think that we would sell. I'm willing to sell out for Myles Garrett to get a strong defensive superstar more than Cooper Kupp, more than T, more than any other guy on the offensive side of the ball because of how good Jaden is.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm not a big JA defender. He got double teamed so much since there wasn't a good behind him or coming off the outside. Yeah, on the outside. Yeah. Hawk, I've told you this. I told you stop being crazy. I know you're serious. Stop it. Stop drinking the booger sugar. Yes, I didn't say sniff it. Stop drinking it. Stop putting it up in your drinks because you have lost your mind. No Chase Young. Stop it. You have ex-girlfriend syndrome. This is like I was listening to Johnny D in the 757 this morning. They had Taylor Heineke on there, and he said, "Ooh, I'd like to come back to Atlanta or Washington."
I'd love to bring Taylor Heineke back.
No. I know you're a Georgia guy.
He'll take nothing to be on this team. Locker room guy. Before 5, there was 4. Before 5, there was 4.
No.
Before 5,
we're not doing
4.
that.
Bring him in as soon as possible.
Oh, God, you got ex-girl. Yeah, don't do ex-girlfriend syndrome. That's such ex-girlfriend syndrome problem. And you know that. You're better than that.
There's no better backup quarterback in the league than Taylor Heineke. Guy comes in, gets the job done.
They were so afraid.
Guy comes in, gets the job done.
Yeah, how do you do against Kansas City?
Against Kansas City?
Oh, it's Kansas City. But he's our best backup in the world. Hey, give me Mariota over Heineke. I'm so glad.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, I'm not seeing either of them on the field, but who do I want to have in my locker room? Taylor Heineke. That's a hell of a guy.
Good. I'm good. He can go back to Home Depot for all I care.
Fair enough.
I'm so glad that we don't have to re-show in our playoff history now the pylon dive. Because it was a play. I'm so glad about it. Like we don't have to, because that's all we would see. Taylor Heineke. And you know what I remember? It's like Odell Beckham when he gets all these one-handed catches. Yeah. They were in losses, people. It's a good individual play.
But what a shot. What a hell of an athlete. That's an athletic quarterback play.
It happened. Did it help you win the game?
Oh,
absolutely not.
Hey, Taylor Heineke's job wasn't to win football games. He was going to come in there, take some big shots, make a couple highlights.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Frat boys getting drunk all season long, and the police and the adults had to come bust down the door.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, at that point, what was the end goal, Corey? What was the state of the team? What was the end goal with Taylor Heineke? We were all just out there trying to have some fun.
I'm not doing
I was just trying to have a couple highlights on my Sunday, something to get me off the couch. We weren't going to win the game anyway.
No, I ain't doing this. I'm not doing this, and I did it anyway. I went against my good conscience.
Oh no, I baited you in. You're in too deep now.
No, you didn't bait me in. No, you ain't do that. No gaslighting here. Speaking of old talent from 2021, Cooper Kupp is going to be on the trading block, and that's good that he's on the trading block. A declining wide receiver. He hasn't been right since 2021 when they won the Super Bowl, and we're gonna make this quick. I say no. If he's a free agent, maybe you can bring him in on a cheap deal. But I think Cooper Kupp has seen his best days pass him by.
Yes, I agree with you. Look, and there's no disrespect to the football player that Cooper Kupp was, but you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, you're talking about still the all-time receiving record in the NCAA, a guy that came out, took the world by storm. If you had him on your fantasy team, it was basically wins every week because he was dropping 35, 40 points on the regular. He was an absolute monster. But even when I was out there in LA covering the team and working with ESPN LA, I mean, you're just watching him and all, the only highlight you're seeing is if he's catching a water bottle on the sideline because the dude just can't play. He is just always hurt. It's like McCaffrey on a whole other level. Like he has an inability to stay healthy now. All of that being said, Corey, and this is what I think is interesting here. We all know that there is a need at receiver for this team.
Yes.
There is a need for receiver at this team. But according to Rappaport, the Rams are willing to eat, quote, a chunk of Cooper Kupp's salary just to get him out of LA. So,
yeah, that's not sexy. I don't like that.
But what does a chunk look like? What does a chunk? What if we get a not a new lease on life, but what if we get like a moonlighting bouncer kind of Cooper Kupp that isn't like a great guy, but we can keep putting Terry outside where he wants to be, and you could kind of put Cooper Kupp in the slot for super cheap, and he's only got to catch the ball like every now and then. Like, is there a situation? Is there a price point where you would accept it? What is that value?
Wait, hold on. You said, let me get this straight. You said night. What is he, the night watchman at Nova Fairfax? Where he's going to be spending half of his time?
He's like the security guard at like a fair. Like
he's going to be moonlighting at Nova Fairfax. That's where he's always been. He's always been at these hospitals and everything, and been on the injury report. No, hell no. They can eat a chunk with it and keep it and shove it up the back pipe. That's
I'm just curious. And I don't get the sense with some of the other, like, no, like, look, let's be clear. I'm a no. I'm playing the devil's advocate a little bit here. I'm a no, but
you're being
I'm
an
a
ass,
no.
okay.
I'm a no, but at a certain point, if the deal comes our way and the Rams want to offload him as badly as they seem to, it's not like I would get the notification on my phone and be upset.
Yeah, it depends on what that notification
I'm interested
says
in the price tag, and I'm open to a conversation. I just want to talk.
God, that sounds like that.
I just want to talk.
I just want to talk. It's like your woman left you like, I just want to talk. Come here, let's negotiate. I'll eat a chunk of me being a jerk, and you come back.
It's a two-way street.
There you go. Okay.
I'm going to leave the porch light on for you, Cooper. You want to come home?
God.
You want to come home, buddy?
With you.
I got the porch light on, and I got some dollar ramen, and that's all you're going to get.
Hell, he needs icy hot too, probably.
The lights on, the door's open. I'll tell you that much. Well, hey, we didn't have hot water in our showers, so that's all far to say. We might not have the facilities to keep his legs moving.
Yeah. It's a no for me. It's been a no for me. It's been a no for me for 3 years. Because I know they talked about about 2 years, right? They talked about this maybe 2 years ago too.
Yeah,
and
they didn't take the steps that they're taking now, but there was a conversation.
Yeah, if they're trying to do that, if Snead is trying to do that, that's a huge red flag for me in the value space. So with that, I maybe we'll talk, but nah.
When I'm with Yams. Hey, league minimum. Minimum.
Yeah, sure.
How badly? I want to know how badly they don't want him.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that on a serious note, the way that they are trying to offload him, injuries are one thing for a superstar, and the money that they're paying him is significant. And so they probably are looking to alleviate some of that to create room to grow. Because, I mean, let's be honest here, the Rams have been in a stagnant place for a while now, just kind of unable to really get the job done, but not a bad football team by any means. They probably want to have a little bit of wiggle room. I do worry if this push, this drive, this determination to just get him out of LA means that something has spread either through his own mentality where they know he's done, or if it's now become infectious in the locker room, which, back to my original point, I don't care how good he is or how little they want. I don't think that our good friend Adam Peters would risk the sanctity and chemistry of this locker room for a guy.
No. Mm-mm. And I mean, you got to think he was in San Francisco. Peters was. That's a
It's
division
not like you didn't
rival.
run into him.
Right, didn't run into him, and don't think that they've probably heard stories about what's going on in LA in the locker room, this, that, and the third. So,
Oh yeah.
So we'll see where it goes with that. But right now, I think it's a no for both of us.
I'd take Taylor Heineke before I'd take Cooper Kupp.
You know what? We're done. We're just done with this. Anyway, I ain't halfway through my spiel here. Let's talk. I'm gonna change up on this. Because Boski brought this up. We're gonna play a little quick flash round of should they stay or should they go. First person on the roster is Jeremy Chin. Played pretty good. I'd bring him back.
He's a lock for me. I've said it all year long. While he hasn't been the most consistent or stellar player, I mean, I think that you called him the human hitman. He is a missile. Like, you're watching the game on TV and he flies out of corners of the screen that you didn't even know were there and just puts bodies on guys. I love his physicality. I love how tenaciously he goes after the football. If there's guys that we need to get rid of, I don't put Jeremy Chin on there for sure. Yeah, that's criminal.
Hawk.
It's criminal.
Damn it, Hawk!
I thought we told him to put down the drink. He needs to put down the drink.
Stop it!
Send him to a meeting.
Stay off. He ain't even on weed because that's insulting potheads, bro. Stop that.
I think he's seeing something. He's seeing another universe. He's on an ulterior wavelength.
He needs to be. Ben St. Jude's probably been deported here in the last 2 weeks anyway because of the crime.
Certainly haven't seen anything on his Instagram. Thank God.
No, yeah, exactly. Oh no, he's with Nike now. He's with Nike.
What? Oh my God! Wait, yeah. How have we not talked about?
Yeah,
that was
he's
our
with
group chat. We were what is Hawk? Did you slip Nike whatever you're smoking? Because we saw that come through. What the hell is Nike doing? Signing Benjamin St. Juice to a deal? Just do it. Just do what? Throw the flag? Are you kidding me?
Shoot. Oh God, yeah, it was bad, eh? That was bad. Yeah, like I said, he's a enemy of the state as far as I'm concerned. So we won't spend too much time on the enemy of the state. Yeah. Goodbye. See you, Ben. Have a good career. Bobby Wagner.
Join Emmanuel Forbes on the Rams.
Oh gosh, yeah, he
Talk
could
about
be
a stagnant franchise.
There you go. Whoo, Lord, they just getting our guys and try to redo with them. With Bobby Wagner.
This is a tough one, but I think that you have to try to keep him. I think you have to try to keep him because of his locker room presence, because of what a solid foundation he was for this Commanders defense. I worry that the logistics of the deal could get in the way, but I mean, I just think you got to keep Bobby. I think you got to keep Bobby. You look at the way that Jaden loves Bobby and the relationship that they have together, always shooting, like always just talking one another up, like poking fun. Like that's the kind of camaraderie, especially with a young quarterback, that I don't think you could jeopardize. And so Bobby doesn't strike me the kind of guy to over leverage his situation. I think that he's familiar with his worth to this organization and doesn't think that they're going to disrespect him, but I don't think he's going to try to overplay his hand. I think you try to keep him.
Yeah, I think that the only place he'll go is to LA. That's the only place not LA, is to Vegas, and go back with Pete Carroll. I think there's two things you got to look on the outside of this. Has his play diminished yet? We talked about that. He's getting his master's at Howard University. Howard University is in Washington, D.C. I think he wants to be here. He was at Josh Harris's press conference the other day, and he didn't need to be there.
No.
He didn't need to be there, but that's showing that he wants to be there. I think you've got to find an heir apparent to him now. That's the key. And whether that is Jordan McGee, if that's somebody in the draft, if that's somebody in free agency, you've got to have an heir apparent. He can't be out here playing 99% of the snaps.
He was not in a position to succeed.
Right,
all of that.
Exactly.
They did not put him in a position to be the best Bobby Wagner that he could be. And he was shouldering a disproportionate amount of the load for the team.
Yeah. Yam brought it up. Dante Fowler Jr. This is the hardest one. I say yes to Bob Wagner too. This is the hardest one because he has 10 sacks, but and he had a pick 6 as well this year. But damn it, he disappeared.
Fell off the map. Fell off.
Like, where the hell was he against the Eagles? I'm trying to figure that out.
Like, I'm trying to even remember now, and like I just don't like. I legitimately don't even remember seeing his shirt out on the field.
I'm like, he's your top pass rusher. I want to see his stats from there now. Where was Dante Fowler at? Now, he might come back because he's a Dan Quinn guy. But part of me is like, we got to seriously sit down and be like, is this really the guy we getting to come back here for us?
I mean, I don't think so. I think that's a very comfortable, probably not, depending on what we're able to do, elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be breaking the bank by any means.
I keep him. This is where it'll go for me. I'll keep Fowler, get rid of Cleveland Farrell. If you had to pick between two of those, I'd keep them. I'd keep one of them just because he's familiar with the defense. He's a Dan Quinn guy. Maybe he might take a pay cut. But there was parts in the offseason. I was like, is he really going to be on this team? Because remember, he was hurt during the preseason. I was like, he made the team. Interesting. Would never have thought that. But that's I mean, it's weird with him.
Much for me.
No, I guess I bring him back just for the hell of it. Let him compete in the preseason with some young guys and stuff. Marcus Mariota. I think I'm willing
to let him go if somebody is able to give us something for him. I don't want to see him go because I think that the relationship that he has with Jaden is nothing short of important to Jaden's development as a player, and they seem really comfortable. And I'll also say, you want to talk about guys that seem to know their role within the organization. Like Mariota is the epitome of that. I think that Mariota is the epitome of look, he knows exactly what he is. He knows that his job is to support a young rookie quarterback. Right. It's not like he didn't have opportunities. I almost worry that he had too many opportunities and showcase that he really still can sling the rock. And so other teams, if they are in need, might try to poach him, but I would try to keep him from a leadership and, education perspective for Jaden.
Yeah. Get him come back maybe another year. And because it just proves that it's invaluable to have a veteran quarterback back there who's won games, a guy who's, if I'm not mistaken, he's one of the last quarterbacks not named Tom Brady to beat the Chiefs at home in the playoffs. So and he caught a touchdown pass in that game. So I would keep him just because of that. And they say they have a good chemistry. Let's see who else they got on this. It's KJ Osborne, gone for me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, that's not doing anything for me.
Tressway, you're bringing him back.
Oh yeah, I mean he's not going anywhere. He's a guy, and they throw that trick play, he makes that throw. Yeah, he's.
Let's go to Michael Davis. I think he's gone on the ship with Ben St. Juice, enemy of the state. Yeah,
he didn't earn his keep for me to want to protect him.
What? A rookie picked on him.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, he got torn. He got torn up. They dragged his ass up and down the field.
Yeah. Chris Red from Saturday Night Live tore him up that day. So yeah, I'm good. Zach Ertz. Here's a good one. Zach Ertz. I know you're gonna be. This is a conflicting one.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
With the gap at tight end that we appear to have, I worry if we don't have him because, we talked about multiple times, just a disappointment, what a bust he seemed to be And whether it was he wasn't connecting with Jaden, whether it was he wasn't connecting with the coaching staff, like I think he was 5 for 5 targets for receptions, but only for like 18 yards and like just never really saw the field. Like something was off. And I think similarly that Ertz kind of is familiar with his position in his career and knows that he wasn't the Ertz that he was, and it might be wishful or aspirational thinking. I've got to imagine that he won't ask for too much from this team where he knows what a pivotal role player that he is and where he sees what he did against the Eagles, where he really was the guy that was moving the sticks. He knows that he's a key player in this offense and that he's not sticking around to just ride the bench. I think you've got to try to keep him, if for no other reason that we just have no depth at the position. And I don't think we could afford to use a draft pick necessarily to pick up a tight end.
Yeah, it's a yes for me with Ertz.
It has to be.
Yeah, it's just for those reasons too. I mean, if Sennett is the guy, right? Then
where was he?
Exactly. Where was he? Or is he in the right position? Is he more of an H-back? Should he be playing fullback? That's kind of some of the verbiage I've heard. Is that maybe he needs
when our running game was so beat up, are we gonna why didn't we try him?
Yeah,
that was my thought. Where was he at the fullback? Where was he?
John Bates took up. John Bates was a better blocker than he was in some situations.
Exactly, and so if you're not physical enough, if you're not a good enough pass catcher, you're not good enough with the football in your hands. I don't need a special teams lifer,
right?
Like, I think that. Honestly, we're going to do stay or cut. Obviously, it's not that situation for him, but he's not a guy that I'm necessarily attached to. And I'm putting the mortgage on keeping Ertz over, taking a flyer on this guy that doesn't really seem to have an identity in the league yet.
John Bates, since we talk about tight ends, John Bates. He's a hell of a blocker, man.
He's a hell of a blocker. He's just a different player than Ertz. And I don't think in this vein of conversation, I necessarily could think about it as keep one, lose the other.
Right.
I'm going to do more to keep Ertz than I am going to do to keep John Bates.
Right. No, that's
what I love, and that feels obvious. Obvious, but it's would I love to keep Bates? Yes, but I don't know if I'm gonna sell the house to keep Bates.
Right. No, I wouldn't say sell the house, but if you could get him on, if the price is right, like I said, this is Bob Barker season. The price has got to be right for me. But I bring him back to compete.
I bring him back for another. Yes. No. Yeah. No,
that's what I talk about when I say that. I'm not thinking about the 53-man roster in 2025. Okay. I'm thinking about off season, going into the preseason.
Yep.
Who are you going to bring back? And who's going to, who you going to get out there competing?
I like Yam's point here too, just on the tight end note really quick. I appreciate the need to develop, but taking a few seasons, it's not even, and obviously, he's not Brock Bowers or something like that. He's not that level of talent, but there is just something concerning about the seeming 180 turnaround that we saw with regard to him, where, everybody was talking about it, that Sennett was going to be this breakout potential star and really make
an impact. They Cole Turnered him.
Yeah. They were this is going to be it. And then just not even for him to fall flat, but for him to basically not even exist.
Right.
It's something that seems like it's beyond, we're banking this guy for development. It's we might have screwed this up.
And there were reports in training camp that Sennett was dropping balls. He wasn't, he was a
slow trickle. It was a slow trickle of information of
they're trying to protect him. That's what they were trying to do.
Exactly. No, exactly. And I think, look, part of it might have been the unrealistic expectation of us as the fans, and not being there day in and day out to watch him. But it seems like while they were trying to protect him, it wasn't like anybody started leaking news in the opposite direction. 11 weeks into the season, hey, we've been seeing some great stuff from Sennett. Don't be surprised if you see him on the sideline.
Right. Kittle had a slow start to his career. I think Kelsey did the same thing. So, maybe
Not counting them out.
Something, yeah, not counting them out. But I'm in the same wheelhouse with you that we need to. There should be some red flag, and I mean, there's the same thing with Luke. I think on the side with the wide receivers. That's what we'll talk about is some more wide receivers, and we will go. I'm going to give you the three: Jameson Crowder, Noah Brown, and then of course Macy Grace himself, De'Ami Brown.
If I'm going to go in order,
yep.
If I'm going to go in order 1, 2, 3, I think I'm just reversing what you just gave me. I think I'm going to go De'Ami, Brown, and then cut it. Find somebody else. And once again, this is I'm cutting James. But this is all with the anticipation that we are bringing in new talent.
Yes,
this is part of the state of the organization. Where as much as I want Myles Garrett, and I think we should shell to get Myles Garrett, the receiver is a must-have position for Jaden Daniels. Because you're doing a disservice to a quarterback as good as Jaden Daniels, and frankly, a disservice to Terry McLaurin after the time he's put in with this organization to not give him a little bit of support in that wide receiver room.
Yeah.
So that out there, I have absolutely no qualms with De'Ami Brown. I think that De'Ami Brown, despite a bit of an up and down, showed up in really, really big moments and made some really, really big plays. I think he would be a great wide receiver 3. Kind of fill-in rotation guy. Noah Brown, lest we forget, hats off to him. He had the immaculate reception. He got the job done. And so while he was flashy, I take the flashes over Jamison Crowder where like it wasn't a flash. It was like kind of like one of those neon lights that like is out in front of a gas station and it's on, but like it flickers sometimes and doesn't look all that different.
Right. Yeah, Crowder, I think he was good for what you needed him to do at times. I mean, to me, there was no difference between him and Zacchaeus.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say we didn't put Zacchaeus in that list too. I frankly would chalk right there.
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't even ask that one. Yeah,
and don't even get me started on him on special teams because we've gone down that road.
Oh yeah, I know. De'Ami, the question I have with De'Ami is this a flash in the pan season for him? Is this a guy that was trying to get paid? Or is this really him producing? This is what the De'Ami, like to me, this is what I thought De'Ami Brown should have been 3 years ago. Now we can blame Scott Turner. We can blame the round mound of offense. Now the head associate head coach of running backs in Chicago. That's probably what his agent will call him, Eric Bieniemy. Those are my questions for De'Ami. I'd bring him back. His attitude didn't seem like he was really excited to come back.
No.
Because he said it was. Yeah.
Well, no, go ahead. No, go ahead. I mean, I think you're right. I push back to your point on maybe like the flash in the pan season too. Is this maybe the first season where he has had the support around him to be successful?
That's fair.
Where not only did he have a great quarterback throwing the football to him, but also where he really felt like, I have Terry McLaurin, so I don't have to be like the guy. But there is a sense of duty and a sense of responsibility that like, if Terry McLaurin's not getting the football, I got to get my hands on the football.
Right.
And there is a pressure there and an added pressure of, I know Jaden's going to get me the football, so I damn well better catch the football.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, I'd bring him back. But like I said, we're not taking you at no crack price, De'Ami. Noah, if he's healthy, bring him back. I thought
I'm paying more for Ertz, to Broski's point. I'm probably shelling more to keep Ertz on the spectrum of wide receiver to tight end, balancing those out. But I'm probably doing more to keep Ertz than I'm doing to keep De'Ami Brown.
I'll throw one more out here for you. Noah Igbenogany.
Golly, man, you saved the worst. I mean, this is what a mental roller coaster and pretzel Igbenogany. So, like, I don't even know how to conceptualize this guy as a player because there were times where he showed up and like a couple of those games midway through the season
Mm-hmm.
before we had Marshawn Lattimore, but you were looking around and you're like, dude, is Igbenogany the best guy that we have in this
Yeah.
secondary? Where
Yeah.
like he was locking some dudes down, like where we weren't putting them on wide receiver ones, mind you, but like he had some very good games. And then he had some other games where it was flag, not even on the TV screen. You got torched so bad. Flag, pulled from
Good
the
bad.
field, doesn't see the sideline again. Like, go ahead and hit the showers, buddy. You're done today. Like, you want to talk about a flash in the pan? He was a flash in the pan, like down in, down out. I think that the only thing that potentially saves him is just how shallow that room is
Oh.
and the lack of depth. But like, I mean, do you want to keep? I don't think I'm doing much to keep him, despite the moments that he had and where he did show up. There was just a lack of consistency to the point where when he did show up, I was happy, but I was shocked because of how bad he was in many other games.
Yeah. He was very
He was
up
an
and down.
enigma.
Yeah, that is the perfect adjective to describe him. He was an enigma. You didn't know will he do or will he won't do, and I mean I can't have that because that was like the characteristic of the whole defense this year was will they or will they not? I can't have that.
And if we're showing out to bring in a guy like Myles Garrett, I'm done with the will they, won't they. Like, we are bringing in a guy. And so, like, even if you're not going to be great, I expect, like, there's an expectation for consistency. And there's an expectation for average at minimum, the standard that we asked for and that we received this season.
I bring him back to compete. That's all. I bring him back to compete in the offseason.
I got a theory for you, Corey. I got a theory for you. I think Igbenogany has a twin brother, an identical twin brother. And sometimes we would be getting the good Igbenogany. And sometimes it would just be his twin brother who like he threw in off the couch. That's how drastic the difference between these two players that would show up is.
We're getting Cliff Paul. That's crazy.
I'm going full blown Cliff Paul. I'm going conspiracy theory on Igbenogany. I'm not buying it. You can't be that good and then be that bad the next week.
Oh gosh. Oh man. His horoscope. He read his horoscope. That's what it is. I'll give you these offensive linemen. Trent Scott, Cornelius Lucas, Michael Dieter, and that'll wrap it up for should they stay or should they go.
I don't want to cut. I don't think that anybody on this offensive line deserves to just get the he should go. I think that this group really stepped up in a really unfortunate situation. I think that as we talked about, it was the strength of the group as a collective over the strength of the individuals all season long. I think that they learned how to play very well together. I don't think all of that to say, when I say that I don't think that any one of them should go, I would let any single one of them go because we basically need to shore up every position on the offensive line. Like every guy on the offensive line is vulnerable, and I wouldn't necessarily pass judgment on who should go. I think it is literally going to come down to who can we bring in, and they're going to figure out that whoever we bring in, somebody's going to lose a roster spot.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that they were bad. To Yam's point, it's not to say that they were bad. They did a great job as a group. But when we go back to point A at the top of this show, building a championship roster, these guys don't build a championship roster. And they need to bring in people to do that.
Yeah. Well, and, to that point, I'd say no to Dieter.
Yeah.
Lucas and Scott. Scott came in there, played right guard in that when Cosme went down. So I mean, with that being said, you can do a lot of things with him. Yeah, bring him in there. Lucas, when he's a backup, he plays he's almost like Marcus Mariota. Yeah. If you need a backup, a plug up to go in there and play,
like a great third down guy. Need a break, need a water. Get him in there.
Or if you need a guy to get you a good game, you can get 1 to 2 good games out of him going into year 34. That would be his age. So, yeah. And I mean, he's been here. He knows the lay of the land. So, I'd say I'd kick the tires on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Josh Harris has a lot to look forward to with Adam Peters and company. And he started out his press conference. And I appreciate Josh Harris for what he did on, was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. The fact that he said that they asked him point blank, is the name, or can we expect the name change? No, the name's going to stay the same. Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you, God. This is something that we do not have to talk about because this is people not leaving you out in the dark on the easy stuff. He came, they asked him the question. He didn't beat around the bush. He just said, no, it's not. We're not doing a name change. Get over it.
Yeah.
Move on. It's done. Nobody. No Burgundy and Gold fan, no Redskin, no Washington football team, no Commander fan, whatever the hell you want to call us, was happy with the name change. I don't think anybody was happy with the name change. But you know what? For the adults in the room, we're like, this is what we kind of dreamed of, was a world with no Dan Snyder. And people say, well, Dan Snyder picked the name and this is his rebrand and everything like that. Okay, he's gone. He's gone. George Preston Marshall was the Redskins owner for years, but doesn't mean when Jack Kent Cooke came in here that they were the same Redskins as George Preston Marshall. Our team is winning. Not even 2 days, 48 hours after losing the NFC Championship game, we're on to the effing name change again. Shout out to Kevin Sheehan. And I know he has a base that he has to fulfill their egos and everything like that. That's fine. I get it. Bro, it's over with. We lost. I'm not saying you lost. We lost. Get over it. Move out of the way. It's new times. For off season, we didn't have to talk about drama. We didn't have to talk about who didn't like who. Another off season, we don't have to talk about name changes and everything like this. All we got to talk about is ball and how to make the team better. I'm not going to bloviate on this. Well, I'm going to let you. I'm going to give you the floor on this because I'm glad that we're out of the way of it now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't even really have much to say on it. The only, I would have loved to see the uniforms, mainly the color scheme, come back. And they've already announced that they are tweaking the uniforms and that the uniforms are going to get a little bit better. That I'm psyched to see. I love going through my Twitter feed and seeing the different designs that people are coming up with, even though I'm sure that they won't be as cool as what people are putting out there. So I think that that's great. I love that they're dipping their toes back into that. But to your point, if you're still hung up and causing a ruckus about the name change, respectfully, why do you care? Respectfully, why do you want to remember, not necessarily we should forget, but why do you want to still be attached to the Dan Snyder Washington Redskins?
Mm-hmm.
The team that was synonymous with bad juju, with terrible losses, with hurt quarterbacks, with just a bad vibe. This organization is a new organization, and it has a great history, and it has a great historic fan base. But this new ownership, this new quarterback, this new culture around the team is something that the district area, the entire DMV, has not experienced before. And if you can't just revel in the success that this team is having, and you need to be hung up on the name of the team, which, by the way, nobody, you heard a single player or guy from this locker room talk about how they want the name to be different, but they all say Commanders. They're all had Commanders on their chest. The Redskins didn't just make it to a national or an NFC championship. The Commanders did. And I think it was Dan Quinn that said it, like, these guys have a sense of pride and a sense of ownership wearing the name Commanders across their chest. And as I said, it's the Commanders that made an NFC championship. Stop living in the past. Stop causing a ruckus and just revel in the success of the team and the freshness of this organization and the good vibe that is finally back in the DMV after literally over 30 years of just misery and disappointment.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think that's perfect.
I mean, it's just like, what else do you say?
Yeah.
How are you still complaining about this? We just made it to an NFC championship. You could talk about Myles Garrett. You could talk about any number of players that want to be coming to Washington. You could talk about how phenomenal, how historic, how memorable, and how special your rookie quarterback was in his first season in the NFL. You could talk about a team that came together. You could talk about a head coach that built the perfect staff. You could talk about a front office that managed to build the perfect locker room. There is so much else that you could be talking about right now other than complaining about the name change. If this was any other year, if this was last year when we knew that the season was done at week 8 and we were now a week before the Super Bowl, yeah, I'd be looking for something to talk about. But right now, there's so much positivity and so many fantastic storylines. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Yams, wow. Yeah, no, I and I get it and people always counter arguing, well, we won 3 Super Bowls as the Redskins. The Commanders haven't won anything.
I don't see anybody marching in to take the trophies. I don't see anybody reclaiming the rings.
Yeah, that's and they come and I mean the alums are coming back out.
People are excited to be in the stadium.
Yes.
We could be going back to RFK. It's not like we're jumping ship and moving to right outside of Baltimore.
Let's go to Indianapolis.
Back to what made the team great. Like what? Yeah. Like it's beyond me. It's beyond me.
Winning. Like
that's going back to actually winning football games. Why don't you talk about that?
I've said this many a times. I said this about 2 years ago too, and it was. If you could tell me I could live in a world where my football team's name had to change, but you got rid of Dan Snyder, I'd be all right.
Yeah.
And guess what? I'm happy as hell. I am happy as hell that we don't have that stigma anymore because that stigma meant that we had to live in doubt and given the benefit of the doubt or the lack thereof that something was always going to get fouled up, something was going to get effed up, and we'd have to move on from it. I mean, it's good. But I'm with you. I'm not a fan of the uniforms. I'm not a fan of the black in the road jerseys, this gradient that they have. I'm not a fan of the numbers. Go out there. Put it burgundy and gold.
They said that they're addressing it. They've already made it clear. They're fixing it.
Yeah, they're going to tweak it. It's fine. I love it.
What are people still mad about? What are people? No, I'm saying you're right. Yeah. Let's revel in another thing that they were willing to concede for fans. Why are you still hung up on this?
They've said everything that they were going to do, they have done. And then this is another thing that they brought up. There's like, well, we're going to have a rebrand. And Sheehan said this too. And I'm like, bitch, do you not notice, excuse my French, that they're rebranding anyway? We've been saying raise hell all damn season like a bunch of rednecks in Southern Appalachia. God love it. I live in Southern Appalachia. But we've been out here saying it. We haven't been saying take command. We really haven't even heard HTTC anymore. The only people that say take command are you guys. Which is a good podcast, we know.
And you still do it. Well, you still see people on the street. What do people say? Hey, go Skins.
Yeah, go Skins. And that's fine.
Everybody still knows what you're talking about.
People come up to me and said, hey, one lady came up to me and said, I'm glad I like that shirt. And I'm glad it says Redskins. I said, I'm just glad they're winning, ma'am. And walked away. That's all that matters. You play to win the damn game. As Herm Edwards said, and he didn't do much of it. Yeah. But you play to win it. We watch for our team to win and be successful. I don't watch for us to get butt slammed every time we go out on the field and we play Philadelphia. I'm not looking at trying to get the brakes beat off of us by Dallas all the time. I'm not looking for us to throw up all over ourselves against Kansas City. I'm looking for us to compete and win.
Yeah.
What is it like? Just move on from it, guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. Like, look, I will say my one qualm, like,
Go ahead.
I think we got to do something about the W. Like, some of the
You,
hats,
you
some of
don't
the
like
merch.
this?
I like it. I like it. It's just like the way that they make some of the merch. It's just like, oh, I don't want to wear it.
Yeah, okay,
Oh,
I got you.
like
Some
some
of
of
this, yeah.
the like hats, it's just like literally a massive W, and I'm like, oh, like I like it, but like, what, like, can we just like I would wear a Major Tutty. Like, can we make a Major Tutty hat? I
You out
would
of your mind? No,
a
God,
Major
you
Tutty
see? No, I'm not.
hat. Major
No,
Tutty
see?
is the man.
Oh God, that just
I
put
ride for
Major
Major
Tutty in a
Tutty
four.
for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's right. What's up, Kelly? I yeah, no Major Tutty. You throw me for a loop here. Some Pigeons fans told me how you're. Oh gosh, the W's fine, says Layla.
I mean,
I like the
that's
W.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. I would leave it at fine. I would leave it at fine.
It's fine. I think the W goes
That's
hard.
a great point by Yams. Yeah, I don't like the commies.
I hate the commies.
Hate the commies.
We got to find something else. What's up, Nectar? Yeah, we got to find something else. I'm like Doc Walker. I say burgundy and gold all the time.
I do too.
So, like if they were to just play hail to the Redskins at the game after a touchdown rather than hail to the Commanders, I think that'd be good.
I think it'd be fine.
It'd be fine.
Of people happy.
Yeah, it'd make people happy. You know, without change, you can't have change without compromise. Like that's also another thing.
Oh, and you also can't have change without people just running their mouths.
Yeah.
You know, no people are never going to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, just sit there, shut up, have a Coke, and smile. But quick, before we get out of here, let's talk about the Super Bowl real quick. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes for the second time, Andy Reid, and Nick Sirianni and Big Dom. Who you got?
I mean, like,
who do you think's going to win? Who do you think?
Well, okay. I mean, yeah. Who do I think is going to win?
So you already told me who you think's going to win.
I don't even want to say who do you think is going to win. Who do you think is going to win? But
you got the Eagles.
Who do I want? Like, who do I want to win? Does it make me a bad person that I want the Eagles to win? That,
yes,
like,
it does. It makes you a horrible person.
Not even for like the fact that they were the guys that beat us, but like I'm sick of that. Like, somebody's got to beat them. Somebody's got to beat them.
No.
Somebody's got to. No. Somebody's got to.
I'd root for the Taliban.
Fiscally, will I be invested in an Eagles win? Absolutely not. I don't like burning money. I don't.
There you go.
I might as well go outside of my house and light money on fire before I bet against Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl. That is essentially what you're doing. Like, that is it.
Repeat coming.
Well, yeah, Greg's like, did you see the whole thing where the NFL already kind of bought like temporary rights to the phrase three-peat because the Heat owner owns the trademark the phrase three-peat, and the NFL has already acquired the rights to use the word three-peat on their merchandise. And I mean, not to go back to our Cliff Paul conspiracy theories, but if I'm an NFL scriptwriter, I'm going to go ahead and buy the trademark to the phrase three-peat before they actually win the game.
Did you also see though that they put up the digital banner at the Superdome? Somebody took a picture and said the Eagles Super Bowl champions. So with that being said, I'd root for the Taliban before I'd root for the Eagles. Like, I really would. Like, I
hate it. Look, it's like I'm not rooting for it, but like I'm not rooting for anybody. It's like the lesser of two evils at this point. It's like, are you rooting for the devil or are you rooting for Satan? Are you rooting for the devil or are you rooting for Satan?
It's all the same. It's all the same to me. I think the Eagles are going to win, unfortunately.
Really? I think the Eagles are the best team in football. I think that they are the best team in football.
They've got the best they got the best roster. Now don't sleep on the Chiefs' defense and their rush defense.
No, their rush defense is probably the best in the NFL.
They're second overall in defense, and they've only given up one 100-yard rusher, and that was Lamar Jackson in the first week of the season, 122 yards.
Yeah.
So they're pretty good. They can lock down. Steve Spagnuolo is a heck of a defensive mind. Vic Fangio is. they've got that. Those are two damn good defensive minds, man. But I think I just think that the Eagles they've got a little bit more, and I think Jalen Hurts is I don't hate Jalen Hurts.
I don't hate Jalen Hurts at all. No, Jalen Hurts is Jalen
I
Hurts
don't know
is
why
swaggy.
people
Jalen
hate.
Hurts is swaggy.
Yeah, I don't know why they hate him so much. Like they like his ability and all this stuff. The guy wins games. You got to have Nick Sirianni said it the best. He's like, yeah, all good quarterbacks. You think you're going to win when they have shit around them?
Yeah,
he's right. He's right. That douchebag is correct. But I mean, I just think I think Philadelphia comes out there. I think I think Jalen Hurts will be a little too much for them, and I think that they're going to win this game.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see that. I would like to see that over seeing the Chiefs win another Super Bowl. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Greg, we don't talk about that with the Eagles fans. We turned the ball over 5 times. It was a fluke win. That's what they always say. I agree with you, though. I agree with you. That is 100% true, though. Let's see here. 10 roughing the passer calls on Philly, says Bruce.
Yeah, no, I see that coming.
Next it says Garrett incoming soon. Yeah, but y'all, this was fun. Well, I appreciate you, brother. This was
always good to be here.
Yes, indeed. This was good. And it's good when I actually have time to write down what we're going to talk about. So,
well, hey, I mean, but the way that things are heating up, by next week we might have some pen on paper to talk about.
Yeah, we might be inking it up though, but and we'll figure out a time next week to convene and everything like that. Hopefully, I will be here for the Super Bowl live and in living color. It is a special day on the Super Bowl Sunday. The little guy turns a year old on Sunday, so a year of the Z-Man. So I'm going to be excited and celebrate that with him on Saturday because I told my wife, I said, you're like, Zane's birthday is going to be on Super Bowl Sunday. I was like, yeah, we'll have a party for him on Saturday before the Super Bowl. And I told her this a year before all of this stuff happened. So I guess the Lord was just working in the midst for me, saying you might be in a situation where you might have to watch Super Bowl on your son's birthday. That didn't happen. But yeah, I was like, no, we're not going to. I said, y'all stole the Super Bowl away from me last year. Not my wife. Now, my wife didn't steal away from her, but we had to eat dinner with her family during the Super Bowl. So I missed like
always
the first quarter in it. Yes, it is. I love my in-laws, but no, appreciate y'all. Love you guys. We're going to keep that same damn energy going into the off season. We're going to outlast the bastards together. We're going to get on top of it, pause, and make sure this team is rocking and rolling going into August and then into September. But for Will, make sure you listen to Take Command because he does some good producing over there with Craig Hoffman and Logan Paulson. Sanchez 405, Corey, love, peace, and hell. Till next time, somebody play the damn theme music so we can get the heck up out of here.